Welcome back, Renegades. Today we got the deck profile for OP05 Purple Luffy that I'm running in the OP09 meta. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. We also have a bonus gameplay at the end of this, so let's get into it. So Purple Luffy is a leader from OP05. It's a 5,000 power leader with 5 life with the Straw Hat Crew archetype. With the ability to activate main once per turn, you may take the top card from your life cards to your hand. If the amount of Dawn on your field is 0 or 3 or more, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as active. So Luffy's a ramp deck. It ramps at the cost of taking life. But we try to accelerate to the late game quicker than our opponent and try to kind of balance out the loss of life. So we run 3 copies of Mr. 2, Bon Clay from EB01. It's a 4-drop 1,000 power character with 1,000 power. On play, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as active. This is another way for us to ramp our Dawn without taking life. And the ability when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's characters. This character has the same base power as the chosen character for the turn. Majority of the time, this is going to be able to, like a 5-6K swing. Sometimes if your opponent plays around it, it'll just sit there on the field. But good card nonetheless. Running 1 copy of Fernosuke, the Wano Frankie from OP05. It's a 5-drop, 4,000 power character with a 2K counter. With the ability of Dawn 1, if you have 8 or more Dawn on your field, this character can gain Rush. So it's not bad for like the late game. If you've seen another 5K chip in, this is a good option. If not, it's just a 2K. 4 copies of Eustace Captain Kidd from OP05. 5-drop, 6,000 power, 1K counter. This is a blocker for the deck. And your turn, once per turn, when a Dawn card from your field is returned to your Dawn deck, you get to add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as active. Everyone's pretty familiar with him. He gets ran in a lot of purple decks since he came out. Good card, blocker, 5-6 body, so don't be afraid to turn him sideways. Another set of 2Ks here. We're running 3 copies of Hitokiri Kamazo from OP06. 4-drop, 5,000 power, 2K counter. Your turn, once per turn. When you return Dawn on your field to your Dawn deck, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with cost 2 or less. This does come in handy, clearing out some like low-end blockers from Bonnie. Just clearing up some small characters. We don't really have a lot of cost reduction here in this deck, so but it's a 2K at minimum. But if they're against Bonnie, don't be afraid to put this down, just to clear out a blocker or 2. Up next, we're running 4 copies of Sanji from OP07. This is the 6-drop, 6,000 power blocker, 2K counter. Great card all around. Very versatile. Need it as a blocker, it's there. A swinger as a 6K power, 2K counter in hand. It does have an ability while you have 2 or more fewer Dawn cards than your opponent in your hand. This card costs 3 less. That doesn't come up very often in this deck, but it's just a good card all around, though. As a 2K. If you need it as a blocker, it's there. As another swing, it's there. Great card overall. Running 1 copy of Charlotte Linland from OP08. 9-drop, 9,000 power, no counter. On play, Dawn -1. Trash 1 card from your hand. Add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Then place it to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of its owner's life face up. This is just a good card to clear out, maybe that last blocker out of the way, or if you just need to get a life. It's a 9K body, so we're only running 1 copy. 1 copy here of Kaido and Linland from OP08. It's a 10-drop, 12,000 power, no counter. 1 attacking, -10 Dawn, KO all other characters. Then put up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life, and trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life. We're running 3 copies of Sanji from OP09. The 7-drop, 7,000 power, 1K counter. On play, you may return 1 or more of your Dawn cards from play to your Dawn deck. This character gains Rush for the turn. Then you can rest up to one of your opponent's cost 6 or lower characters. This is good for resting a blocker trying to go for game. Searcher for the deck, we're running 4 copies of Trafalgar Law from OP09. Just a 1-drop, 2,000 power searcher, 1K counter. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 cost 2 or greater card with the Straw Hat Crew or Heart Pirates type and put it in your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your deck. This is just one of the searchers. We are running another searcher. It can find a lot of cards for us in the deck, so it's just good to have. 2 copies of Nico Robin from OP09, 2 drop, 2000 power, 1k counter blocker. Pretty standard, like low end blocker. Running 2 copies of the 9 drop, 10,000 power secret rare Luffy from OP09. With on play, you may return one or more Dawn cards from play to your Dawn deck. Draw 1 card, then this character gains Rush for the turn. Here we have a multi-function 2K with Usohachi from starter deck 18. 3 drop, 3000 power, 2K. On play, if you have 8 or more Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 5 or less. This is another option for us to play out if needed to rest one of their blockers when we're trying to go for game. Worst case, he's a 2K counter. Running 2 copies of Onami from starter deck 18. 4 drop, 2000 power, 1K counter. It's a blocker and has the ability of on play if you have 8 or more Dawn on your field. Trash 1 card from your hand and draw 2. It comes up in the end game, but don't be afraid if you need to drop a blocker down against aggro decks early. It's just it's a blocker. Use it. We're running 4 copies of Sangoro from starter deck 18. 5 drop, 6000 power, 1k counter. When attacking once per turn, if you have 8 or more Dawn, draw 1 card. This card usually pairs up with Luffy Taro. It's just a good card. It's a 5/6 body that we can swing after we get 8 or more Dawn to kind of refill our hand a little bit. We're going to go over Luffy Taro. So Luffy Taro is starter deck 18, 7 drop, 8000 power, no counter, but on play Dawn -1. Play up to 1 purple Straw Hat crew type character card with a cost 5 or less from your hand. This can play out quite a bit of things for you. It can play out your blockers if you need them with the Onami or the Nico Robin. Like I said, but most common play is Luffy Taro into Sangoro for maximum use of the ability. And then we're running another set of searchers here with Zorojuro from starter deck 18. It's a 4 drop, 6000 power on play. Top 5 of your deck. Reveal 1 purple Straw Hat crew type. Put the rest of the bottom of your deck. No counter, but it's a 4/6 body, so it's decently statted to go aggressive. Play it off Luffy Taro. Usually, if you're going first and you go to your 3rd Dawn, you get your 3 Dawn, you can use Leader Effect to take a life, get that 4th Dawn, and then play Zorojuro. Or you can play out Mr. 2 as well. Last card in the deck, we're running 4 copies of Gum Gum Giant from OP09. 1 drop, counter, Dawn -2. You may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader has a Straw Hat crew type, give up to 1 of your leader or characters plus 4000 power for this battle, then draw 2 cards. So like we have some cards in here that are kind of like bricky, like we have like one of these. You know, they're just kind of like situational cards. But this gives us a way to get rid of those non-counter cards in hand for a little bit of extra protection. Fun deck. This is just a list that I've been playing that's got a lot of one-ofs. But feel free to mess around with the list. Like these are kind of, this right here is like a staple. This one, staple, like staple. You know, there's some staple cards, but we have some flex spots. Like this one's a flex. These are definitely flex spots. Just any kind of 2K you want is okay to replace these. If you want to run more of these, go ahead. Your blockers, we're just running a 2-2 split between the Onami and the Nico Robin. If you prefer one over the other, or if you prefer something different, change it up. But this is just a list that I'm running with the gameplay videos that I'll be putting out. So, alright, so we got Purple Luffy versus Uda here in OP09. Choose to go first here. Get our Dawn, pass it to the opponent. Got a couple 2Ks. We got a 7 drop Luffy Taro, Sanji. We got the Zorojuro. Opponent's going to play out, what is that, Balluno. Passing it back to us. We're going to use Leader Effect here. I'm going to just go 5 into life. Then we're going to play out Zorojuro. Finding a Purple Straw Hat. We're going to grab Gum Gum Giant and just pass it back to the opponent. Opponent used New Genesis, it looks like, and they got a Brook. They're going to go 5 into life here. Going to counter out. They're going to play a Brook into a Nami. And they just pass it back to us. So here we're going to play out the Sanji using a stun effect to rest the Nami. And we're going to try to pressure into the Nami here with leader. They give that one up, surprisingly. And we're going to go 6 into 5 with our Zoro. And then we're going to go with Sanji. They take that one. Passing back to the opponent. Quick side note here, this list is not the one that I had in the deck profile. I was messing around with the list a little bit. So as you see, we got 2 Linlins, and in the deck profile, we only had 1. Opponent is going 6 into our leader. We counter out. They got a Brook off of their leader effect when they're attacking. They used Backlight to get rid of our Zoro. They're going to put 3 Dawn on Brook, going 8 into life here. We're going to take this hit, getting another Zoro to hand. Back to us, we're going to get the Onami. Going to play out Luffy Taro here, going Dawn -1, putting out the Zoro, getting the Sangoro from Search, going 7 into the Rested Brook with our Sanji. They're going to give us their blocker here. We're going to go 5 into life with leader. They're going to counter out. We're just going to pass back, leaving 1 Dawn open for our Gum Gum Giant. So they're going to go 5 with Brook. They're going to give him a counter. Putting 1 on their leader so they can use their effect. They do get a Nami from our top of deck, and they're going to pressure 6. Going to give him a 2K. They're going to play out their 7-drop Luffy blocker into the Brook, into the Nami. Pretty good. Back to us. We're at 9 Dawn. We're going to deploy out the Linlin here, going Dawn -1. We got to trash a card. We're going to trash that kid. Gain a life. We're going to probably tuck that Nami. And we're just going to pressure 5 into the Rested Brook with our leader. They're going to give us a counter here. We're going to go 6 into the Brook. We're going to see if they want to give us counters or use their blocker. So now we're going to go 7 into Brook with our Sanji. And then we're going to go 8 into the Luffy with our Luffy Taro. See if we can get some more counter out of hand. And pass it back to the opponent. They're trying to get their hand size down. Because Uda can draw a lot with her leader effect. When she attacks, she reveals the top card of her deck. If it's film, goes to her hand. It's 9 out of 10 times it's going to hit. So we want to make sure we're keeping her hand size down. Here she's going to go 7 into our Sanji, getting a Shanks from top of deck. I'm going to counter out. So they're going to put 2 on their Brook, go 7 into our Sanji here. We have to give it up. Then they use another Backlight to get rid of our Zoro, playing out their 3-drop Uda blocker and passing it back to us. So we're at 10 Dawn now. We have drew into the Sangoro. We're going to play out another Linlin. We're going to trash a Gum Gum here, gain a life. We're going to put that blocker at the bottom of their life. And we're going to attack 5 into their Rested Brook, see if they want to counter. They're going to give it to us. 8 into life here with Luffy Taro. They take that life. Now we're going to go 9 with Linlin into life. And they take that one. Passing back to the opponent, leaving 1 open for Gum Gum Giant. Opponent's going to go 6 into life here. We're going to take that. Here comes the Shanks down to get rid of our 9-drop Linlin. Back to us. We're going to pressure 8 into life here with Luffy Taro first. They take that life. We're going to go 9 with Linlin. They take that life. Going to put 4 on our leader here. Going 9 into 5. They're going to use the blocker here. The countering out here to save the blocker. We're going to play out Sangoro here, leaving 1 Dawn open, just passing it back to the opponent. Opponent's going to go with their Shanks 11k. They're going to go into Lidlin. We're going to give up the counters in hand to save it. So they're going to go 11 with their Uda. They got another Shanks. We're going to use the Gum Gum Giant here, which doesn't work because we don't have a card to trash from hand, unfortunately. They're going to go 8 into Luffy Taro. We have to give that one up as well. They're going to play out a Gordon, which is a blocker for them. So we're going to deploy out our Sanji here, using the card action to rest their blocker. We're going to go 7 with Sangoro, drawing a card. So we're going to be able to pressure 3 7K swings. We're going to go 7 with our Sanji. Opponent counters out of this, so now we're going to go another 7K. And writing's on the wall. Thanks for watching. I hope you all are enjoying the videos. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. It helps the channel grow. We'll see you guys in the next one.